We are stoked to introduce our newest and youngest brand warrior so far, Julian Alvarez. He's a professional footballer, rock climber, mobility and movement practitioner, chocolate lover, Barcelona-based Mexican globetrotter, and just 23 years old. Julian, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, thanks. How are you?
I'm very well. So tell us, Mexico, Seattle, Denmark, Barcelona. Tell us about this journey.
Well, I grew up in Mexico, and then with my parents, I moved to Seattle and lived there for almost 7 years, and then actually moved back to Mexico to finish school. I dropped out of high school and wasn't really sure what I wanted to do besides play football, so I was studying a couple different things, and then I ended up moving to Denmark to continue to play football and study.
Mm-hmm.
I lived in Denmark for 2 years, from about 19 to 21, and didn't love it. The town was quite small, and there's not that much to do. So I ended up moving to Barcelona to have a lot more variety and a lot more things to do, and bigger airport, bigger city. It's just more entertaining and more fun.
Do you miss home and your family?
I definitely miss my family. I'm really close with my parents, and I'm close with a lot of my family. So it's a little bit hard to sometimes stay in contact, being so far away and with the time difference. But I usually get to see them for about a month, once a year, when I go visit, and that's great.
Nice. So football, it's been a big part of your life. Tell us about the highlights.
Yeah, it's definitely been big. When I was about 17, I think I was just trying to get into a team in Spain. So I did a trip, and I was just going to some of the big teams in Spain, knocking on doors and asking for trials. And I actually got one in Sporting Gijón, which is one of the big academies in Spain. And I actually got to train with them for about a month. That was pretty great. I would have stayed, but then it just didn't work out with the passport and everything. And then in Mexico, I actually got into the final of Nike the Champs.
Mm-hmm.
They did trials in all of Mexico, and they saw almost 4,000 players or more, and just reaching the last 23 of that was really amazing.
Yeah, I bet.
And finally, I think Denmark was definitely something different. It was playing with a lot of high-level players, and then also changing teams in Denmark and playing in a team that actually won the division, and winning and moving up divisions was definitely special. I think there's been highlights in each part or each place I've played, and I can't really pick one specifically.
Sounds good. Sounds like quite an adventure with the football. So, how did you first come about? How did you first come across yoga? What got you hooked?
Yeah, so I actually got injured playing football in Denmark. I tore my ACL. That's ligament in the knee, and that was a pretty big setback. And I wasn't really happy with how the physio was helping me. It was just all too slow. So I started doing my own research and also found yoga. And I think I just got hooked because it's such a internalized practice. It was a great break from the competitive part of football and competitive sports. And it was just focusing on myself and getting myself better. And really having that break and just focusing on me just really was I think that's what got me hooked.
And what would you give, what advice would you give to any men who are thinking of giving yoga a try for the first time?
I think a couple different things. One is that it's full of girls, so nothing to lose there. But I think it's mostly important to not be scared of looking silly. I think it's very similar to dancing or other type of practices where I think guys are just a little scared of looking dumb. And yoga is not really about that. It's just about how you feel and how you can progress by yourself. And it's just a lot more than just Om or meditating or just the actual practice. And once you start getting into it, you can start to see all the different benefits it can have in your life. And you shouldn't be scared of just looking silly in your first class or in the beginning, because the benefits kind of outweigh all that.
Yeah, for sure. Good advice. So tell us now about your career as a movement and mobility practitioner.
All right. So when I started that, it was similar to the time that I started doing yoga. I actually started with more gymnastics movements because I had a friend in Denmark that was actually a gymnastics teacher. So he taught me a lot of different gymnastics practices.
Mm-hmm.
And then also getting into either Portal method and different types of practices, I started doing research on how we can actually create stronger bodies and more flexible bodies, and different movement helps us for different things, and how I had been all cut up in this very specific type of movement that can be used in most competitive sports, but it's very limited to what the body can actually do.
Yeah.
So I was just very intrigued by that and have continued to do research and find out more about that.
Tell us about your research. What have you found out?
So it's talking a little bit more about mobility, and how mobility is that balance of strength and flexibility, and kind of finding that optimal balance for each body type and for each practice. So depending on what you do and what you like to do, you could have a stronger body or more flexible body and have a body more adapt and less injury prone, or with a longer active lifespan.
You're currently developing an exciting new training method for athletes for injury prevention. Is that all top secret, or can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's not top secret. I'm definitely developing it more to have workshops and different classes. The idea is that through movement, you can strengthen and build flexibility in our bodies to adapt to misalignment. So misalignment is kind of just always practicing that perfect squat. And then through different movement, we could avoid having injuries like an ankle. When you twist an ankle, it's because you're twisting and you're not comfortable in that twist of the ankle. But through different movements and different practices, we can actually strengthen our articulation so that we won't get injured from a twist. We will be adaptable and be able to be comfortable in different uncomfortable scenarios and different ways that our body can move, but we just aren't practicing or not being able to feel comfortable in these different misaligned spots.
Right. So fun and games, fun and playfulness are a part of your classes. Tell us about that. What makes this part of your teaching technique?
So I think life is too short to not be having fun.
Yeah.
I think it's very important to have that balance of focus and fun. And sometimes when you take things too seriously, it just leads to frustration. And especially when doing yoga or more advanced movement, that can be very challenging to our bodies. I just think it's important to be relaxed and be able to kind of laugh at yourself if you fall or if something happens. Just not take it seriously and just continue going.
Yeah, for sure. So you've confessed that you love eating chocolate, which I do too. Tell us a bit more about your diet. What else do you eat apart from chocolate?
Yeah, so I think at home I say that I'm kind of a stay-at-home vegan. I'm not a strict vegan. I just think that it's a better balanced diet if we do it correctly. Nowadays, a lot of the diet that you see in the world has way too much animal content, way too much meat. And if you kind of look at a lot of diets that have a lot of history in the world, we didn't really start eating so much meat until a few years ago.
Yeah.
So I tend to only eat meat maybe once a week, and really focusing on having natural products, a lot of vegetables, very few packaged products, so that just have a more nutritious life, I'd say. It's not really strict because I still eat. If I want something, I'll eat it. I just don't. I'm trying to have a more sustainable life for my body and also for the planet.
Yeah. Do you see yourself ever, becoming, 100% plant-based, or you still see yourself eating meat in the future? Well,
the problem is I like to eat well. So a lot of the food I really love is actually not plant-based.
And you want to enjoy your food?
I want to enjoy my food. So I don't think that only eating vegan is not eating well. There's really good vegan food, but I definitely like eating different types of food and different food that maybe sometimes is going to be meat. And if you don't do it every day, I don't think there's a problem with it.
Well, you like to travel a lot, so I guess eating different cuisines from different countries is all part of that. Tell us
Yeah.
about some of the places that you've been to most recently.
So recently, I actually went to China and Hong Kong, and that was definitely different and a lot of fun. The cuisine there is just amazing. Just so much variety, so many vegetables I had never seen in my life, and then there's just kind of the international Chinese food that you see everywhere, and there it's just taken to a whole nother level. And then just the places are amazing.
Where would you like to travel to next?
I think I definitely want to go back to Asia. It's parts that I just haven't explored as much. I want to go to Mexico and explore a lot more of Mexico, and just want to continue exploring different places in the world and different natural places like mountains and lakes and oceans. So I want to continue seeing almost everything.
Wonderful. Well, finally, Julian, can you leave us with some words of wisdom?
I'd say move more, smile more, and just don't be afraid to challenge yourself a little every day, trying out new things and just having fun with it.
Sounds like pretty good advice. Whereabouts in Barcelona can our followers catch your classes?
So I teach at the Barcelona beach, which is pretty accessible. I also teach at a yoga teacher's training. So I'm a guest teacher there, and I'll teach sometimes about mobility and about our bodies in those courses. I'll also be preparing some workshops for the future, so I'll be posting those as they are ready.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for talking to us today, Julian. Guys, if you want to find out more about Julian, please check out his personal page at warrioraddict.com. See you guys later.